Yo, good afternoon, my patrons. This is your coach Renz, and I want to thank you guys for being here with me, and always I want to thank you for being patrons. We are going to continue with chapter 6 of the book Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Of course, we did chapter 6 part 1 that was available. You just saw that one. I hope you looked at it, and you know we left off where Napoleon Hill has asked the devil, how did he escape? How did Napoleon Hill himself escape? And he said, you found it in the great love of the woman of your choice. That's when he had lost his grip on him. We're going to get a little deeper into that one, and we're going to go deep, deep, deep beyond the book on that one, okay? So, just to get it all in there, what he actually said concerning Napoleon Hill and his wife, let's get it all in, and then we'll go deeper into it beyond what Napoleon Hill wrote in his book. Because if you study Napoleon Hill other books, and you read between the lines, I'm going to tell you what Napoleon Hill really is talking about when it concerned him masterminding with his wife, and when other people like Ford masterminded with their wives, and so on and so forth. The different people who have achieved great things in life, how they have done this daily mastermind. We're going to talk about what he says it is in here, but when you look at all the other books, exactly what he's talking about. So he says, so you are going to accuse me of hiding behind a woman's skirt. He said, no, not hiding. I wouldn't put it that way. I would say that you have learned how to give yourself a solid background with the embellishment of a woman's mind. He said, so Napoleon Hill then says, the woman's skirt is nothing to do with the den. He said, no. That's the devil saying no. But her brain does. When you and your wife began to combine your two brains through your habit of masterminding every day, you stumbled upon the secret power with which you forced me into this confession. He asked the devil, you're trying to flatter him. And Napoleon Hill then responds by quoting a biblical passage where it says, when two or more are gathered together and ask for anything in my name, it shall be granted. Is that true? Then if it is true, then that two minds are better than one. And the devil says that it is not only true, it is necessary before anyone can continuously contact the great storehouse of infinite intelligence wherein is stored all that is and all that ever was and all that can be. I want to put a pin in this right here. Now, true, the access of multiple people's mind and thought processes on any task can be beneficial. Two minds that are linked together in like terms can accomplish pretty much anything. 3 minds, 4 minds, 5 minds. When you are working in an environment and you know the entire team has a goal of achieving a task, then of course the ability to achieve that goal is easier. You may have seen in other videos where I liken that unto the Wright brothers. They were bicyclists. They were guys who own a bicycle shop. But them and their team believed wholeheartedly, 100% together, that they could build something that flies. They could build an airplane. Whereas Langley had government grants, had scientists, had people from all over the world working with him in order to build it, but they weren't a cohesive, one-minded team, and they came in second. Langley didn't get it done, and when he didn't get it done and found out the Wright brothers had done the first man's flight, he didn't say, oh, let me go down and find out what they did to see how we can improve on it. No, he quit. He gave up. But the reason why, with all the money, all the resources, Langley couldn't do it is because the team didn't have that cohesive single-mindedness of thought, whereas the Wright brothers did. In a relationship, and you're trying to build something in life, and you're in a relationship, if you and your wife, see, Napoleon Hill and his wife, they were single-minded in achieving what they wanted to achieve, and his ability to be able to produce the laws of success, Outwitting the Devil, the Think and Grow Rich, all the books that he was able to produce, the learning, the knowledge, the gaining of knowledge, all those things were easier, and they were done because they had a singleness of mind of masterminding. It is the popular term today where people talk about, we're going to get into a mastermind group. But unfortunately, most mastermind groups are filled with selfish individuals who really only want to see their business prosper. If you look at all these different Facebook groups that they have out there for networking and business building, 99% of the people in there are only concerned with building their own business. And even in romantic relationship, oftentimes we're only concerned with our own happiness instead of the happiness of the unit. Now, if you can read between the lines of what Napoleon Hill writes in many other books, the true mastermind that he talks about, a truer mastermind, is tantric sex. is sex transmutation. He talks about sex transmutation in Think and Grow Rich, but it's a short, brief chapter that he says he doesn't want to expound upon. All his other books is short and brief that he talks about sex transmutation. Sex transmutation is a tantric idea, it's a tantric philosophy where the two people utilize their sexual energies to channel it to their third eye to be able to then mentally create in life whatever it is that you desire to have in life, whatever it is you want to create in the material world. Now, in doing that, I want to give you guys something that you can get started on as far as how to begin this process. Many of you may have never heard of it. If you haven't heard of Tantra, you may have heard of the Kama Sutra. Kama Sutra is just the positionings. Tantra is the philosophy around it of moving energy and sharing energy with the mate to create a stronger bond between the two of you. But those in the priesthoods of old also utilize this energy to be able to contact the divine, to contact those on other conscious levels, but also they use it to materialize things in the real world, well, not the real world, in the matter plane, on the matter plane. So what you have is a technique that was used in Egypt, it was used in Greece, it was used in Samaria, it was used in India, it was used in China, it was used all over the world, in the Americas. It was used all over the world, just under different names and maybe in slightly different processes, but all coming and being the same thing. You see this all the time when you see the two serpents going up a pole. That is one of the symbolism of tantric energy, sex transmutation. So one of the things I want you guys to start doing, I want you to start testing this out if you're new to Tantra, you're not a true Tantrika yet, is what's called eye gazing. Eye gazing is simple. You sit in a yab yum position, which is the male person sitting, the female straddling the male with the legs wrapped around them. Hold each other by the waist and then just look into each other's eyes. And while you're looking into each other's eyes, I want you to remember that first time when you was in love with them and all the different virtues and all the different wonderful things that you thought about them, that feeling that you had when you were gazing into their eyes consistently, that emotion that exuded from you when you were constantly looking into their eyes, the way you felt about their deeper core, their deeper soul. I want you to think about those things as you're staring at them. And it's okay to blink. This is not a staring contest. You can blink. And then even if you get distracted for a moment, even if your mind goes to the left or goes to the right, I want you to be able to come back. Just come back to the memory. So that when you guys are walking with each other, when you're living with each other, then you're holding on to those things that got you involved with that person in the very beginning. In the very beginning, this is what brought you two together. And you remember that. And you should do this at least once a week. And in all your other tantric positionings and your tantric meditations with each other, these are that you continue this process. Whether you're doing a heart hold or any other type of tantric meditation, you still maintain the focus of the eye gazing, of looking into each other's eyes. Even if you wanted to go as far as to give each other compliments and say wonderful affirmations to one another or about the unit itself, you do this constantly. And as you breathe in from your sacral area. Imagine the air coming into your yoni and coming up to your third eye. Imagine the air breathing in through your lingam and coming up to your third eye. Even in this meditation, see the energy traveling up and being shared with one another. See it rotating into her, into him, and rotating down into them and back up, and in a full circle. The Egyptians called this unking your sexual energy, right? The energy goes up to the heart, unks around the head and back into the heart and back down, right? So the Egyptians called it that. Call it what you like, doesn't really matter. But do this. If you begin to do this, you'll get into the first part of being able to mastermind and use sexual transmutation to energize whatever it is that you desire to have in your life. So that's what the deeper thought process of that is, sex transmutation of energy in order to facilitate what it is that you want in your life between you and your mate. Because I can tell you this, if you're in a relationship, if you want to build a business, but your husband is against you, your wife is against you, or they're not supportive, or even if they're kind of benign about it, then you are going to struggle. You have to have a solid house. A house divided will surely fall. You have to have a unified household, and a benign household will fall just as assuredly. There was a test that was done. I can't remember the doctor's name, but he did the rice water test. The rice that was yelled at, complained at, that had negativity, it spoiled, looked horrible. The rice that was given love looks pure, it looks good the first day and the 30 days, 60 days later. But the rice that was ignored looked the worst. The rice that was ignored looked worse, fared worse than the rice that got negativity. Think about that. So a benign relationship is worse than having a negative relationship, because ignoring a person is worse than being negative towards them. As long as there's no physical abuse, it's worse than being negative towards them. Because even when you're being negative towards them, you're giving them some level of attention. It's not good, positive attention, but it's some level of attention. So we'll continue. And one last thing about that, as far as my own studies goes, Napoleon Hill doesn't really talk about this, but when the other aspect of two minds coming together and getting that information from the intelligence storehouse, this is when I think about the twin flame effect. You see, if you saw my video on twin flames, what I talked about is a little bit different than what you're going to see most people saying. Most people say that I'm the male flame, she's the female flame, and we come together as a twin flame. No, I have a twin. You have male and female energy inside you. I have male and female energy inside me. It is for me to come in agreement with my twin flame inside me before I can come to an agreement with the twin flame of another person. In order for us to truly come together, both our twin flame must be unified inside ourselves, higher level of consciousness, and then we can truly come together and embody the perfect union, embody the male-female energies coming back together, existing on the higher plane. So we got to get it together. We got to come into unity. So first do it in your home, then you can do it at your workplace, you can do it at your in your community, and then we can build. You can build when you have that kind of unity. So moving on, back into what we was talking about hypnotic rhythm. So Napoleon Hill was able to escape because of this masterminding that him and his wife participated in. And he was able to carry this masterminding idea into his business as well, in creating the Napoleon Hill Foundation. So if you want to build your business, increase your wealth, you take these same attributes non-sexually and translate them into your business place, your workplace, into all other relationships that you have. Now, so they go back into their question and answers, and Napoleon Hill says, what is the very first step for a drifter must take in order to break the habit? To break the habit of drifting, what is the first thing? And you guys have heard this so many times before, but it hasn't meant much to you because you have to have a huge, incredible why. And I'm going to repeat it again. The devil says a burning desire to break it. You, of course, know that no one can be hypnotized by any other person without his willingness to be hypnotized. The willingness may assume the form of indifference towards life, general lack of ambition, fear, lack of definiteness of purpose, and many other forms. Nature does not need one's consent in order to place him under the spell of hypnotic rhythm. Through any form of neglect of use of his own mind, you either use it or lose it. The thing is that if you don't have a burning desire to change whatever it is in your life that you're doing right now, you want to stay stuck well, you may say that you don't want to stay stuck. But if you don't begin to change your life, if you don't begin to have such a burning desire that there's no other option that can be in your life to change it, then it won't change. I meet people all the time who will say that they want to lose the weight, but yet they keep eating poorly and they don't exercise. I keep meeting people who say they want to build a business, but yet they don't go to take classes, they don't get a mentor, they don't do anything towards building a business on a daily basis. They keep doing the same thing they've been doing every day. I meet people who say they want to get out of debt, but yet they keep spending money frivolously. They don't take account for their funds, and yet they still say they want to get out of debt. I meet people all the time who say that they want to have better relationships, But when they are told what they need to do in order to change the environment so they can have a better relationship, they're unwilling to do the actual work. They don't have a burning desire. And nature will not wait, will not do it for you. For everybody who's praying and hoping and wishing that nature, God, whatever, comes down and just change their lives, it's not going to happen until you first change your life, change your environment, change the way you think, change the way you act. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So in order for you to have a great relationship, you must first be great in the relationship. Same thing with everything. So Napoleon Hill says that, and I assume you, as I understand you, hypnotic rhythm is a natural law through which nature fixes the vibration of all environments. Is that true? He said, yes, nature uses hypnotic rhythm to make one's dominating thoughts and one's thought habits permanent. That is why poverty is a disease, right? He said nature makes it so by fixing permanently the thought habits of all who accept poverty as an unavoidable circumstance. Through the same law of hypnotic rhythm, nature will also fix permanently the thoughts of opulence and prosperity. And this is the most damning line of this part. He says that if your mind fears poverty, your mind will attract poverty. If your mind demands opulence and expects it, your mind will attract the physical and financial equivalents of opulence. This is in accordance with the immutable law of nature. And immutable means that it cannot be broken. So here's the deal. You may be speaking with your mouth that you want to have wealth, but your dominating thoughts in the back of your mind is that you can't have it, that you can't achieve it. The dominating thought in your mind is that Trump's not going to let you get it, that the man ain't going to let you get it, that these black people got all these different affirmative action programs so you can't get it, that these foreigners keep coming into America and taking up all the opportunities so you can't get it. If that's your dominating thought, that there is something blocking you and will forever block you, then poverty is a disease that's living inside your body and mind that you'll never escape from. I don't care how much you say, I don't care how much you pray, I don't care what you do. You can say and pray and go out and start fake little businesses all you want to, but if your dominating thought is that it can't be done, then guess what? It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. It's just like I meet people who tell me say things like, I'm always going to be in bad relationships. Well, yeah, you will. If that's what your thought is going into the relationship, even though you may say, oh, he's so great, she's so great, oh, I think this is going to be wonderful, but in the back of your mind, you've already come to the conclusion that it's going to end, that relationship will end. If you sit up there, and when I was a personal trainer, I used to get this all the time. Oh, I've tried everything, and nothing seems to work for me. And I would ask the client, then why are you here? Why are you here? If nothing's going to work for you, then why are you here? Why are you in my gym? If you already believe it's going to fail, then you've already failed. You can come in here, you can lose 10, 15, 20 pounds, but because in the back of your mind, what you think is that everything fails, you eventually are going to backslide. You will eventually sabotage yourself. I literally know people who every time their business starts to flourish, they self-sabotage their business. And I know many of you are saying that that's crazy. Why would somebody do that? But it's done every day. And if you look deep and be honest with yourself, you'll find the areas to which you do it too. But if you train your mind to expect opulence, you train your mind to expect the greatest of life, you train your mind that everything is going to be exactly the way you want it, that you're going to have the love, you're going to have the health, you're going to have the money, you're going to have the adventure, you're going to have every experience that you want. If you train your mind to say that there is no expectation in life other than that, then that's what you're going to get, because that's what you'll attract, and then your actions will dictate the same. But as long as there's a negative thought, you can speak, pray, meditate, do all that stuff, and it won't mean a damn thing until you actually change this dominating thoughts in your brain. And if you wait too late, it's going to be even more difficult to do. So moving right along after fussing at y'all, we're going to keep going. So he talks about, so whatsoever man soweth is what he reaps. And the devil says that statement is true. You can see the evidence of this truth in all human relationships, what I was saying. The habit of drifting through life must be accepted wherever life hands. Oh, sorry. So Napoleon Hill says, and that is why The man who forms the habit of drifting through life must accept whatever life hands him. Is that correct? And the devil says, absolutely correct. He said that life pays the drifter its own price, on his own terms. The non-drifter makes life pay him on his terms. Meaning that if you're a non-drifter, you demand from life what you expect and you get it. Now, Napoleon Hill asked, does this call into question morality and morals? I mean, we have this mindset that rich people have to step on the little guy in order to become rich, that all rich people are greedy and they're mean and they're selfish and this sort of thing. And the devil does say that no one can collect what he wants from life merely by being good. Like, not everybody's going to like what you're doing, and everything you do is not going to be beneficial to everybody. Sam Walton built Walmart. For all accounts, Sam Walton's a decent guy. I don't know him personally, but just from what you can tell, he seemed like he was a decent guy, right? But Sam Walton building Walmart's put a lot of small businesses out of business. Was he being the mean corporate giant that just came in and stomped on the little guy, or did he just compete? Did he just compete? Now, are there business people who do things that are backhanded? Yes, there are some people who do some mean things, but not everybody who becomes rich. A majority of people are just out there competing. The problem is that you're not competing, and you want to feel like you can get some sort of grace, some kind of forgiveness by blaming somebody else that they had to cheat, steal, or do whatever in order to become wealthy. But yet and then you can say that, well, I don't and I won't, so I just rather have my peace and have my happiness than to go out there and step on somebody. Well, you know what? That's utter bull. That's utter bull. BS. Because the majority of people who achieve something in life just went out to achieve it. They weren't thinking about you. They weren't thinking about, all these other people. They were just going out there and getting and doing what they wanted to do for themselves in their lives. And maybe you need to start thinking the same way. And you need to start thinking the same way. Instead of sitting here waiting for everything to just fall into your lap, or I just gonna be good and I'm waiting for the next life. I'm getting my heaven here. To hell with waiting later. All right. So, they then go and talk about how the devil says that, no, not exactly. You are where you are and what you are because of your thoughts and your deeds. And Napoleon Hill asks, is there no such thing as luck in there either? Now, I can read you all this part, but it's very simple. No, there's no such thing as luck. There is only cause and effect. Wherever there's an effect, there's a cause. All the things that we call luck and miracle, these are twin sisters. These are twin sisters of a false reality, because there is no luck. And now here's the thing: we may not be able to prove where the causal factor is all the time. We may not be able to look far enough in the past to see the causal factor. But what we do know is that there is a causal factor to everything. Everything, there is a causal factor. There is nothing that happens without a cause, and there is no effect that has occurred without a cause. So, and in order for you to have effect, you have to have some causation. And the fact of the matter is that your deeds, are your thoughts more important than your deeds? And no deed can happen without a thought first. A thought has to occur before the deed happens. You may try to say that, like you ask a person, what are you thinking about? And they say nothing. Well, that's impossible. Your brain is constantly thinking, whether it is consciously thinking or subconsciously thinking. Your thoughts are always going through your brain. So no deed, no thing that you do is caused without a thought. Even the things that are done without you consciously thinking about it happens because of a thought. You have learned how to drive so well, and over time the habit is so ingrained in you that you just don't have to think about it, but it still happens, and there's still a thought that pushed it in the first place. So all your thoughts, all your deeds are the results of your thoughts. So in that, we have to understand that luck doesn't happen. You can't, even if you didn't buy a lottery ticket, right? And you won the lottery somehow, whether a ticket blew to your foot because somebody lost it, well, the causal factor is still the fact that somebody lost it and the wind blew, and then you happen to be at that point when it hit your foot. There's still a cause and effect. If they just pulled a random social security number, it's still a cause and effect. They pulled a random social security number. Somebody decided that the way we're going to give out this $250 million lottery is to pull a random social security number. Nobody has to enter, nobody has to do anything, but we've decided to be the causal factors. There is always a cause and an effect. Somebody is healed, there is a cause to their healing. There's not a miracle. There's a cause. But we talked about that in the previous video, so you can go back there. I'm not going to belabor the point. Then he goes through a whole series of asking the devil, like, who are you? What are you? And he goes through all these different things, like, I'm the explosion of the lightning. I'm the unseen general in the warfare. I'm the antithesis of justice. I'm the driving force of all immorality. So he goes through all these things, all these negative things that they said the devil is, that the devil describes himself as, and he says, isn't that cruel? And he was like, he called it definite and dependable, because the devil said, I know exactly who I am and what I do, right? And then he talks about how the world depression happened, right? The world depression broke up the habits of men everywhere, and it redistributed resources all around the world, so that opportunity was there. Now, the drifter ignores the opportunity and believes that everything fell out of his hand. Just like we experienced the housing market crash, the dot-com bubble crashing, we experienced recessions. Anytime there's a recession, you have the drifter who says that, oh my gosh, they're taking, I'm losing. But the non-drifter looks at everything as an opportunity, whether it's a bull market or a bear market, whether it's a bubble or a burst. They're looking at where is the opportunity in order for me to facilitate what in life I want. The drifter looks at, what is this going to do to me? What is this going to give me? How can I survive? Am I going to make it? What is life going to do? What is the government going to do? What is this and that organization is going to do? Whereas the non-drifter says, where can I take my opportunity? How can I increase my wealth? How can I increase my health? How can I increase my relationship? They're always looking for the opportunity, even in relationships. Even in a relationship, you could be sitting at home, you don't have any money, and the drifter will say, sit there and wallow in their sadness. Whereas the non-drifter will sit at home and say, oh man, we don't have any money. So wow, this is a great time for us to spend some family time together. This is a great time for us to, maybe have deep conversations about our relationship. Find different, this is a great time for us to go and take a walk, walk through the park or through the woods. This is a great time for us to do something together to bring us closer together. Whereas the non-drifter would just want to sit there and just complain about the fact that they don't have any money. It's all frame of mind. It's all the way you think. Now, if the non-drifter is thinking that way, they're going to have a negative relationship. If the non-drifter is thinking that way, they're going to have a great relationship. If the drifter is thinking that way, their relationship is going to be horrible. Because then the drifter is saying that the only way their relationship can be good is everything else is good. That sucks. That sucks. I would never want to be around people like that. It's just like when you're working. People who say that we can't get this work done because we don't have enough resources are the ones who will quickly find themselves out of a job or being replaced or being leaped over by somebody else. It is the resourceful person who climbs the ladder at a job. All right. Now this is the good part. I'm going to get ready to close this out in a few minutes. Where he talks about how he said, are non-drifters smart enough to avoid the influence of hypnotic rhythm? And the devil says that no one is smart enough, right? That the law of hypnotic rhythm fixes permanently the dominating thoughts of men, whether they are drifters or non-drifters. There is no reason why a non-drifter would want to avoid the influence of hypnotic rhythm. If it helps him to convert his dominant aims, plans, and purpose into the physical replicas and fixes his habits of thoughts and makes them permanently. Only a drifter would wish to dodge the influence of hypnotic rhythm. Now, what is he telling you? He's telling you right there how, again, a non-drifter would think that their rhythm, they want to avoid getting into habits. Whereas a drifter thinks they want to avoid getting into habits, where a non-drifter recognizes that habits are good if they are the right types of habit to give you what it is that you want, the plans that you have in your life. Like, if you have the habit of maintaining organization, you want to keep that habit. If you have the habit of maintaining love in your relationship, you want to keep that habit. If you have the habit of maintaining good finances, you want to keep that habit. Why would you ever want to get rid of those habits? If you have the habit of eating healthy and exercising, you want to keep that habit. Why would you want to get rid of that habit? Those habits only lead you to a negative portion of your life. So you wouldn't want to, so you want that. And that's where he gets into the next part. He says the question from Napoleon Hill is, For the better portion of my adult life, I have been a drifter. How did I manage to escape being swept into the whirlpool of hypnotic rhythm? He said that you didn't escape. The major portion of your dominating thoughts and desires since you've reached adulthood has been well-defined, definite desire to understand all potentialities of the mind. You may have drifted on thoughts of lesser importance, but you did not drift in connection with this desire. Because you did not drift, you are now recording this document, which gives you exactly what your dominating thoughts in life demand. See, Napoleon Hill's dominating thought in life was that he wanted to know the inner workings of the mind, what makes people successful and what makes people not successful. Because of that, he kept the focus on that. He was able to get this confession out of the devil. Now, he may have drifted on lesser important things, and you may drift on less important. You're not going to be a perfect non-drifter on everything, but for the lesser important things, you may not have to worry about those as much, right? I mean, you may be, like right now, I eat 90% vegetarian. I'm drifting on the other 10%, but I'm doing the 90, and that 90 is going to give me way more, it has given me better health than the 10% would hurt me, if you understand what I'm saying. Now, if I flip that and was 90% carnivore and 10% vegetarian, then my health would be poor. It wouldn't be in as good situation as it is now. So the lesser doesn't necessarily mean, so you don't have to be perfect, is basically what I'm saying now. You don't have to be perfect. But this is the last part here. Why doesn't your opposition use hypnotic rhythm to make permanent one's higher thoughts and nobler deeds? Why does your opposition permit you to use this stupendous force as a means of entangling people in a web of evil spun by their own thoughts and deeds? Why does your opposition not outwit you by binding people with thoughts which build and lift them above your influence? The devil responds, and he says that the law of hypnotic rhythm is available to all who will use it. I make use of it more effectively than does my opposition because I offer people more attractive bribes to think my sort of thoughts and indulge in my sort of deeds. In other words, Napoleon Hill says, in other words, you control people by making negative thinking and destructive deeds pleasing to them. And he says, that's the idea. This may seem kind of weird to some of you guys, but think about it like this. Most of the things that we think are pleasurable are destructive to our lives. We've been convinced that fast food tastes so good. And I know you're going to blame and say that they put certain ingredients in the food that makes you have a stronger desire and addictions to it, but we had to keep going and keep eating it. If we have a desire strong enough to get away from it, you can stop eating the fast food. But the fast food, in most cases, does have a better taste than some of the more healthier foods. But it's not good for you. It's horrible for your body. Your body is not designed to eat that mess. But yet you keep eating it and you keep doing it. And then you'll say, I want to lose the weight. No, you don't. No, you really don't. I really wish you stopped lying to yourself. You really don't. Because if you really did, you would stop. If you really did, you would go exercise. If you really did, you would do what's necessary in order to have it in your life. But because you don't, then you really, really don't. And kind of like Alcoholics Anonymous, the first thing you need to do is recognize what is truth. Remember, in all of this, accurate thinking is vital for your success. So you say that you want to be financially independent, financially wealthy, but yet you don't manage your own personal finances right now. You don't just stop, just stop right now and say, okay, I'm not spending another dime until I recognize where all my money is going. I'm going to take this day, and I don't care how long it's going to take me, but I'm going to go through my bank statements. And I'm going to categorize every dime that I've spent and see where my money is going. I'm going to do that for 3 months. It's February right now. I'm going back to December. I'm going to do November, December, and January. Now I want to see where my money has been going, right, consistently, so that I can know how I'm spending my money. And then once I realize how I'm spending my money, I'm now going to cut where I can cut. Oh, I've been spending money on extra fast foods and all these kind of food. That not only is going to help my health, but it's also going to help my wallet. Oh, I've been spending money, on cigarettes. I've been spending money on a bunch of alcohol. I've been spending money on this. Not that you can't have any of it, but you've been overly spending money on all these different things. You will find that you have at least $200 to $500 that you can pull back. You'll find it. You'll find it. I have yet to not find where I can pull at least $200 back into a person's household, and then they can start using that $200 to get themselves out of debt. It's there. But guess what? Most people don't want to go through the process of it. Why? Because getting your money and going having fun is more pleasurable in your mind than being on a budget. Being on a budget is something that feels negative and harsh and horrible to you, but being on a budget is something that helps you to be able to actually have the funding to live a more peaceful life and do the things that you want to do and build wealth. But yet you don't want to do it because in your mind it doesn't sound as pleasurable as just get my check and go do what I want to do and go have fun. I want to go eat. If I want some McDonald's, I'm gonna go eat some McDonald's. Not, oh no, I shouldn't have that. I should go get some vegetarian, or I should go get something healthier. I should go to the grocery store and maybe bring something home and cook it. Pack a lunch, which is easier. You're at work, walking to the cafe, you're at work, ordering some food to be delivered, or having to plan for your meals all week and then pack everything up and bring your lunches to work. Which one is more pleasurable to your mind? Of course, going to buy the food every day is more pleasurable to your mind than taking the time and energy to pack up your food, plan your food, cook your food, bring it to work, and go through that process. Of course it does. But that's the trick. That's the trick. That's the difference between the devil and opposition. The devil's going to give you something that seems better for you, but it's really not. Whereas the opposition that he calls God is going to give you the things that are better for you, but it may not seem like it. But in the end, it always is. In the end, if you have financial wealth, it's better. Not that money's going to make you happy, but it's like an old saying. I don't know if it's an old saying. It's an old saying to me. But he's saying that money can't buy me happiness, but I can be miserable in a much nicer place. So I'm going to leave you guys right there with that thought in mind. Remember, you got to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is not